Hello everyone, we're going to present our presentation about physical barriers in inclusive education in Kazakhstan, especially for students with mobility disabilities in schools. So, what are physical barriers? Physical barriers are obstacles in the environment that make it difficult for students with mobility disabilities to access school buildings and the learning spaces. For example, schools may not have ramps and elevators, and the doorways may be too narrow, and the toilets may not be accessible. Also, classrooms located on upper floors. Why does it matter? Because physical barriers limit equal access to education. Students with mobility disabilities may not be able to attend schools regularly and participate in class activities. That's why removing these physical activities is essential for successful inclusive education. So, about background information. According to Human Rights Watch, Kazakhstan has approximately 5.6 million children, and about 1.3 and 1.4% of children have disabilities, and around 26,200 children have a mobility impairment. Also, Kazakhstan has education policies to support inclusive education, and many schools remain physically inaccessible. Some children study at home while others attend special boarding schools.
So the main problem is mostly Kazakh schools are built before that inclusive education policies came. So that's why in most schools we don't have ramps, lack of elevators, inaccessible toilets, classrooms located in the upper floors that Karakat mentioned before. So that's why, as a result, students mostly can't attend the lessons in mainstream schools. So they have really difficulties, facing really big difficulties in this kind of schools. Policy and plans. So Kazakhstan government is introduced the state program, that education development in 2011-2020. That program aim was equip 70% of schools with the inclusive conditions. Also improve accessibility for students with the disabilities, develop inclusive policies and support systems. However, many schools couldn't do this kind of infrastructure needed because of some kind of problems. It can be money or other etc. problems. That's why not all 70% are equipped, but mostly they try to do it. Older.
There are several reasons. There are several reasons why physical barriers still exist in school in Kazakhstan. First, many of the school buildings have outdated infrastructure, and because they were built before inclusive education became a priority. Second, is that schools often face limited financial resources, and installing ramps, elevators, or accessible toilets requires additional funding. Another reason is a slow implementation of inclusive education policies. Sometimes people also do not fully understand the importance of accessibility. These barriers create serious consequences. The next, addressing physical barriers requires cooperation between different stakeholders. First one is the teacher. Teachers try to create inclusive classrooms, but many of them do not have enough training or resources to support the students with their mobility disabilities. And the second one is the families. Families still want equal education opportunities for their children, but inaccessible schools make it very difficult. The third one is the government should create the better policies and provide the finding and the improvements and ensuring equal access to education.
So solution and first alternative is about physical barriers. So I mentioned before that we have a problem about ramps, elevators, and accessible toilets. If you put that, so students can freely go to their classes, and they can move around the schools by themselves. And students is able to move independently and more freely around the school. Research also shows that with these improvements, instruction rate increases, so students also will attend and participate in lessons more.
So our second alternative is teacher training in inclusive education, which focuses on training teachers to support students with mobility disabilities. So our teachers will participate in workshops, seminars, and in-class mentoring. And they learn how to adapt the lessons and the classroom learner for accessibility. And the researchers shows that the better trained teachers improve inclusion outcomes, and these teachers can really support their learners, and they can make students participate in these class activities actively, and achieve learning success for their students.
In Kazakhstan, students with disabilities sometimes cannot fully participate in the class because it's a physical barriers. But one solution to create the inclusive solution is to create inclusive support centers in school. The centers will provide the assistive devices, rehabilitation support, and the counseling for students and the teachers and the parents. For example, students in the wheelchair can attend all classes with the special equipment. And the teachers and the parents learn to how to support the child. Inclusive support centers also help the students with other difficulties like a hearing and problems vision. They provide guidance using the technology and the special learning tools and the methods to make learning easier. This helps the students feel more confident and more independent. The teacher can ask also advice from the center how to adapt the lessons to difference needed, and also parents can also ask learn how to help their child at home, and this improves the communication with the teachers and the teachers more effectively. The summary research shows the schools. Research shows in school these support centers have a higher attendance and a better participation from students with disabilities. Students feel included in social activities and they can develop skills alongside their classmates. Before I mentioned here the capital of Kazakhstan, Astana, is that here have opened some schools with support centers, especially for the disabilities. Right now we are working the 6 and 5 schools working for them.
Alternative first and physical barriers. So first one is students can access all classrooms. So after they put elevators, ramps, etc., students independently, freely, individually can move around the school, and they don't have to worry how to get the upper classes. So students and parents also should not worry about how students will act during the school time. So they can freely move around the school. Second outcome is teacher can effectively support students. So they will learn how to physically move and how to teach students during the classes. So with disabled students, they also know how to speak, work, and how to manage the class during the lessons. Third one is enhanced student support. So even though we have elevators and ramps and etc., we still have this kind of support. So parents and teachers will not worry and totally during the school time, because they will support in any way, in physically, and individually needed for the students.
So second alternative is teacher training, and the first outcome is increased participation, which means training teachers know how to adapt lessons and classroom environment. That's why the teachers can increase participation in class among students with disabilities. And the second outcome is better learning outcomes, which means training teachers understand how to work with students with different needs, and then the teacher can share her knowledge, and the students will receive effective instructions. The third outcome is reduced stigma, which means inclusive education practice can create a supportive classroom environment, and then there will not be negative attitudes, and encourages respect and understanding among students.
The third one, the students become more independent and more mobility. It improves their mobility at school. This is also helps create a positive classroom climate where everyone feels included and supported. In addition, the collaboration among the school, home, and the community becomes stronger, which helps students succeed in their education. And in activities, they can develop skills and alongside their classmates.
So general rate is for effectiveness is 4, for efficiency is 3, for equity 3, and facilities is 2, and implementation is 2. For physical barriers, we choose point 4. Why is improving school infrastructure directly removes physical barriers such as stairs and inaccessible entrances. For efficiency is 2. Infrastructure improvement is expensive because of school need construction work, elevators, and building reconstructions. For equity is 4. Accessible infrastructure ensures equal access for all students with the mobility disabilities. And facility is 3. Why it is possible to improve infrastructure, but it is required finding and change in the old school buildings. For implementation is 3. Infrastructure improvement takes time because of construction and renovation are required direction.
Так, education транспорт или
Education.
required education.
Education.
So in the second alternative for effectiveness, we put 3, because teacher training helps teachers support students better, but it does not mean that
Окей, ну, как-то c'est ça, это.
So in the second alternative for effectiveness, we put 3, because teacher training helps teachers support students better, but it does not remove physical barriers like stairs or the lack of elevators. And for efficiency, we put 4, because teacher training is relatively inexpensive, because it mainly requires workshops, courses, and training materials. And the third one is equity, and we put 4, because teacher training helps teachers support all students and create a more inclusive classroom environment. And for feasibility, we put 4, because teacher training programs are easy to organize through university and training centers and online platforms. And for implementation, we put 4, also because teacher training can be implemented quickly through professional development programs.
Alternative 3 focuses on the providing support services for students with special education needs, such as psychologists and special education teachers. For example, the effectiveness It received 4 points. Becoming professional support can greatly help students overcome learning difficulties and participate more actively in the classroom. The next one, efficiency. It received 3 points. Support services improve the learning outcomes, but they require trained, specialized, and additional resources. So they are not the most efficient solution. And the next one, the equity. It received 4 points because support system help create equal learning opportunities for all students, and especially these disabilities. The next one, the disability. It received 3 points. Since implementing support programs is possible, but the schools may face challenges such as lack of specialized or funding. The next one, the implementation. It also received 3 points because organizing support services takes time and training and coordination. Yes. As a result, is a total alternative 3 is a 49, which shows that support systems are strong and an important solution for improving the inclusive education.
And here we can see that teacher training receiving a high score because it's cost-effective, feasible, and easy to implement, while still improving inclusion in schools.
To conclude, physical barriers remain the serious barriers. To conclude, physical barriers remain serious challenges for inclusive education in Kazakhstan. Many schools still do not have ramps, elevators, or accessible facilities for students with mobility disabilities. Because of these barriers, some children cannot fully participate in school life or even attend mainstream schools, and therefore improving school infrastructure, providing the teacher training, and creating inclusive support centers are important steps for building an accessible education system. Also, inclusive education is essential to ensure equal opportunities for all students. Yes. Here's in our reference why we use. And thank you for listening.